Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. See how we're sounding here. Nope. Hey, it's working. Nope. Hey, it's working. Hey, that sounds great. Oh, it's only turned up like halfway. Hey, that sounds great. Wow. Oh, it's only turned up like halfway. That compressor is nailing it. Let's turn on this LA2A. Compressor is nailing it. Does that sound any better? Let's try that. Does that sound any better? Does that sound any better? Let's try that. Does that sound any better? It's okay. I think I like it the other way. It's okay. I think I like it the other way. Let's try it this way. Mic check 1 2. Let's try it this way. Mic check 1 2. Yeah, I like that. That'll work. Perfect. All right. Let's keep it going. See if I can hear the music if I did that right. Perfect. All right. Keep going. See if I can hear the music if I did that right. Oh yeah, it's working. We're almost there. Huh. There we go. We'll have to see if I'm clipping or not. Now I can only hear myself in the left. Huh. kind of laggy. Idea though, once I get it figured out, then I won't get copyright strike because I'm making my own music. But I don't think this old computer can really handle it. Okay. So let's close this and try making a new one. Don't save. All right. Let's get some drums. Maybe the 808. See if I can hear this. I have some headphones on the way. And that'll make this much better. So I'm trying out Loopback. It is making my microphone only come out in my left ear. I don't know why. I pressed the mono button. It's still doing it. It's doing it either way. Okay. I don't see an option to fix it. All right. So Loopback works for 20 minutes. So I've already used 10. And then after that, it's supposed to start making weird noises. I like to learn by doing. I like to build this in front of an audience. And then as I get good at it, people that want to do this too can look back one day and see, oh, he wasn't very good at this either at the beginning. But he kept going and he figured it out. Okay, let's see if I can get this working. Not really. I can't hear that at all. Let me try. Change the output. Audio output device. There we go. We want universal. Okay. Let's see if I can hear that on the stream. Okay. Let's see if I can hear that on the stream. Yeah, it works. Cool. It doesn't work for making music though because there's too much lag with these headphones. I need those new headphones next week. It's a good idea though. I like it. Maybe we'll just paint it in today, and then we'll play it next week. All right, let's get some clips in. Let's see. This drum and clap. Let's do kind of a super simple thing. Let's do like 80, maybe 100. Double up that kick. Okay, that's my rim shot. All right. I wonder if I set my mic as an audio on this. Let's see. External in. Input device. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2. Let's see. Monitor. There we go. Let's try it. Okay. Word. Word. Goofy. Word. All right. I still gotta learn Ableton. Sample that thing. If this was a machine, I could do it. Let's see if we can get a bass line. Impulse, maybe. Nope. Here we go. Bass. Burned bass. Let's try that. All right. Not grimy enough. About that lead. I have to be able to monitor in real time or I cannot play. And I don't really have fun doing this without being able to do it live. And There's the 20 minutes, I think, of loop back. Let's see if it... No. Let's just paint again. This is miserable. It's awesome. I can't wait for next week, though, because it can't get any worse than this. I mean, this is the bottom. So, let's call it. Hey. This is live streaming with a 5-year-old. Okay. Let's switch our input back to our good mic. Universal audio. How does that sound? Turn off loop back. Okay. I want my AirPods for my speakers. And let's see if that'll work. 1, 2. Okay. Let's close that. Don't save. Don't save that. All right. I'm still only hearing playback out of my left ear. That is not fun. Let's disconnect and try again. Connect. Check. Settings. Molly's got it. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now that I hear out of both. Okay. Mono. Still only out of my left ear. Okay. Let's look in here. Solo. Right. Left. That doesn't seem to matter. It says I'm getting it out of both. One last try. Sometimes one of them will work and one won't. I'm really excited to get those new headphones so I can have some actual headphones that have no lag. 1, 2. All right. Connecting up here. Connect. 1, 2. Let's see. Say a little prayer. Please work. Please work. And I still only hear it in my left ear. Let me try it one last time. Okay. Let's turn Bluetooth off completely and turn it off. Turn it back on. Okay. Let's put these in. Okay, I heard that in both. Oh, I wonder if that's what it's doing. No. Okay. Well, from what I can see, one last try. One last thing to try. Let's try to switch to this and then listen to the stream live. Hey, that sounds okay. Well, it sounds fine coming out of my phone. It sounds like crap coming out of my computer, but that's okay. I've wasted enough of y'all's time. Thank you for bearing with me. You don't have to watch this. There's a billion other things to watch. I'm glad to see a couple of my friends here. Lumpia, Johnny Blaze, everybody. You dancing, a little bit of dancing, a little bit of fire. We're gonna figure it out. It's gonna take us a while, but we'll get there. I remember Robin Williams once. They asked him why he did acting, and he said because that's where the stage was. And I feel the same with going live on here. It's fun to learn things in front of people. And you don't have to watch. You're free to do something else. But you could be anywhere on the internet right now, and you're here with me and my 2-year-old squeaking her chair across the way. So these are not connecting at all at this point. So I'm just going to do it. I think I'm just going to do this. Well, I'm going to do this stream. I'm going to shut these off because this is, I hear my own self, but it's like 2 seconds after I talk and it's making my head hurt. So we're just going to shut these babies off completely, put them in the case, and go from there. So here's what I want to talk about today. This is the stream. We got the intro. We built up our massive fan base. We're all here reporting the coming false flag event from the depths of my daughter's playroom in rural Missouri. We're going to go through it. So, what appears to be happening, I have a feeling. Now, I don't know for sure. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is not what is going to happen. Okay? But I have an intuition. And I have a pretty good intuition device. In this case, I hope and pray I am wrong. I do not want this to happen to anyone. But I feel that the powers that be in the country I live in, the United States of America, are backed into one hell of a corner. If they do not win on November 8th or whenever it is, this is going to cause problems for the real American government, which is the deep state. I always said when Joe Biden was elected that the CIA would be running the country, or the deep state, however you want to call it. But Joe Biden's obviously not running the country. They've washed about $50 to $100 billion that we know about in Ukraine. And if you follow independent news sources at all on this issue, you know that the Ukrainian army is not doing so well. Mainstream media news sources act like, oh, they're about to win. They've been about to win since March, I believe. A tip. I'm watching people come in and watch the stream. I get thrown off by knowing how many people I'm ultimately doing this because I feel that I should. That God wants me to do this kind of work. Okay? So I'm going to take this Post-it note and I'm going to stick it right over how many people are watching. Tear off a little piece and I am going to stick it right here. I like to see how long I've been doing. Oh, that works perfectly. I have no idea now. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Why doesn't everyone do this? It always boggles my mind when people are like, only 400 people watching. What the? Come on. I'm like, dude, you're lucky anyone's watching you. So I'm grateful to you all. But I'm just going to go talk about this for a couple hours, and then I'm going to go finish my taxes, eat dinner, tuck my kids into bed, and go to work. Okay? Tomorrow. So let's pull up the first thing I found. Well, when I was making this thumbnail, I Googled dam blowing up. It's a fun thing to Google. Got some tabs here. Let's look at what comes up when you Google dam blowing up. Here's what comes up. Zelensky calls on West to warn Russia not to blow up dam. It's also interesting if you click images, you see right here the knots. Well, should we say that? Can you say that on YouTube? I don't know if you can say that word on YouTube. I know it's probably not good for the algorithm, even though it's a word. If you grew up where I grew up, you saw it was on the History Channel every single night forever. But I did find that interesting. I see a lot of Freudian projection here with the U.S. ruling class. Pretty much. whatever they want to do, whatever they're accusing Russia of, they have telegraphed in the past or in the present, in this case, that they are going to do the exact same thing. So let's just, I saved this in my YouTube here. Let's go ahead and find it. It's in watch history, watch later. Here we go. I'm going to pull it up and we're just going to watch what the man himself says. So I haven't heard what he said. And go ahead and put this bad boy back in so I can listen to my favorite comedian, Vladimir Zelensky. Just see what he said. I have it right here. YouTube pushed it in my feed, as they do many things. And we're going to pull it up. And we're going to listen to what he has to say. Here we go. Stop. It's playing in my ear, but not in yours yet. Here we go. Present, share screen. I need to share the tab with YouTube. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put old StreamYard over here. Put old other YouTube over here. Let's make me small. And you guys can enjoy the artistic, comedic stylings of one young Vladimir Zelensky. Get that drip, Zelensky. And when I'm talking about that, when I'm talking about the drip, I'm talking about that drip of sweet Western elite military defense contract money from my own tax dollars, funneled, of course, washed for you. Enjoy.
Ukrainian President Zelensky delivered an ominous warning to European leaders, saying Russia may be planning to blow up a major dam and hydroelectric plant and then blamed the Ukrainians for it.
Дуже дякую.
Zelensky accused Russia of already planting mines in the dam in southern Ukraine, adding an attack could flood 80 towns and villages, along with the city of Kherson. And Zelensky says destroying the dam could cause cooling issues at the Zaporizhzhia power plant, Europe's largest nuclear power plant, more than 100 miles upriver. Kherson is...
Wait, whose largest nuclear power plant? Let's listen to that again.
Could cause cooling issues at the Zaporizhzhia power plant, Europe's largest nuclear power plant, more than 100 miles upriver. Kherson is the only regional capital Russia controls, lying in one of 4 regions Vladimir Putin illegally annexed. Russian-appointed authorities in that city evacuated an estimated 15,000 residents yesterday, with more expected in the coming days. Experts say the evacuations could be a sign the Russian military will soon abandon Kherson as the Ukrainian military prepares for a major counteroffensive. The Ukrainians have regained large portions of land in recent weeks in the south and the northeast.
Until a few weeks ago, this entire area was occupied by Russia. Today, the Ukrainian forces are pushing them ever closer back to their own border. For now, Putin's failing to win the land war and resorting increasingly to targeting innocent civilian targets.
Meanwhile, Iran appears to have deepened its involvement in the war. The White House says the U.S. has evidence that Iranian troops are now in Crimea, training Russians on how to use drones to attack Ukraine. Yesterday, Putin made a rare visit to a military training ground, a PR move likely aimed at boosting support. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Okay. Well, that's what the West wants us to know about all that. Let's go ahead and go back to this article that I had found. Let's find Zelensky calls on West. Here we go. Zelensky calls on West to warn Russia not to blow up the dam. All right. Tell us what's going on, Jonathan Landay. Frontline north of Kherson, Ukraine. This is Reuters, which I can't remember where I heard it, but someone said when you see Reuters, you should run the other way as quickly as possible. We're going to dive in here. Ukrainian president, that word no one ever calls him, Zelensky, urged the West to warn Russia not to blow up a dam that would flood a large area of southern Ukraine as its forces prepared to push Moscow's troops from the occupied city of Kherson. In a television address, Zelensky said Russian forces had planted explosives inside the Yuzhnova Kavka Dam, which holds an enormous reservoir, and were planning to blow it up. Now everyone in the world must act powerfully and quickly to prevent a new Russian terrorist attack. Destroying the dam would be a large-scale disaster. Now, what timing? What timing? We got the election coming up. Very good. We must act now, he says. Must act now. Must act now. Russia has accused Kiev of rocketing the dam and planning to destroy it in what Ukrainian officials called a sign that Moscow might blow it up and blame Kiev. I love it. Both sides are accusing the other of doing this. So we get to decide. We get to decide. I've collected some evidence. I believe evidence. It's more, it's not deduction. It's not induction. It's more, well, I heard Gonzalo Lira say this once, and he calls it abduction. It is when all of the evidence collects in a certain place, and it it becomes, as my favorite liberal Bill Maher would say, what's he say? I can't prove it. I just know it's true. Something to that effect. If somebody remembers what he actually said, my brain's farting out at the moment, but that's the idea. I can't prove it, but I just know it's true. Okay? The vast Dnipro bisects Ukraine and is several kilometers wide in places. Bursting the dam could send a wall of water flooding settlements below it towards Kherson, which Ukrainian forces hope to recapture in a major advance. It would also wreck the canal system that irrigates much of southern Ukraine, including Crimea, which Moscow seized in 2014. The alarm has echoes of a World War II disaster at another huge dam further upriver, which Ukrainian historians said it was dynamited by Soviet sappers as their troops retreated, causing floods that swept away villages and killed thousands of people. Now, who were the Soviets fighting in that war? Does anybody remember? Could they be fighting the children of those same people today? Yeah, no. I can't prove it, but I just know it's true. I love to steal that from you, Bill Maher. That's a great one. Zelensky called on world leaders to make clear that blowing up the dam would be treated exactly the same as the use of weapons of mass destruction. So, Zelensky is just hot and heavy for nuclear war, is what I'm feeling at this point. His back's against the wall, and it's not really Zelensky, is it? The Russian general Shoigu said they beat the Ukrainian military in like April if they'd had no support from you know who. With similar consequences to those threatened if Russia uses nuclear or chemical weapons. Here's their Shoigu. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu spoke for the first time since May, and a top Russian diplomat said the call was needed to eliminate misgivings. TASS news agency reported the Pentagon declined to offer specifics beyond saying that Austin, who initiated the conversation, emphasized a need for lines of communication amid the war in Ukraine. So that's enough of that. I mean, I don't want to read any more of this. I'm bored with it. That's the Western line from Reuters on the dam here. A more interesting line, I feel, is from our boy at the Duran. See if we can find him. Man, I desperately need a new computer if I'm going to keep doing this. But I don't think I'm going to be able to afford one for quite a while. If anybody ever does want to help me out, I always put in the about my buymeacoffee.com/Tyler McConnell. The only people in here right now are just my friends, and that's the hardest part of this whole thing is I will just do it, but I'm never going to be good at asking for, I guess never say never, but I always just kind of hope, like the money would come, like Field of Dreams. I don't have to prostitute myself too much, but, prostate myself on the internet. It's a funny way to behave. I almost never use YouTube on the website. So when I'm doing this, it's almost hard for me to understand how YouTube works on the website. I got to like learn it. A lot of you probably already watched this one. Let's pull it up though and jump around a little bit and just see what Alex has to teach us. So let me find this here. Let's go back to this. Stop sharing. Present. Share screen. And we will do Mr. Alex. Alex had the best take on this, and he's what finally convinced me to make a video. I know almost everybody in my circles watches these videos already, but I figure it doesn't hurt for me to amplify it. And it kind of helps me learn this game a little bit as I'm going along. So, let's find this guy because I do remember. Let's start right here. There's a certain part I wanted to highlight.
Feeding the Ukraine military from Poland, from the west to the east. And Brian at the New Atlas put up an excellent video this morning, and he gets into some more detail with regards to this report, an article on the website 1945, I believe, by a lieutenant, I believe Davis, if I'm not mistaken, but a U.S. Army official. He put out a post, an article saying that if Russia were to do this, then it would mean that essentially Ukraine would be cut off from receiving any supplies from the U.S. and NATO. It would essentially mean that Russia would just be able to grind the Ukraine military down as it ran out of ammo and weapons. Now, there's another report, another interview, let's say, an interview statement coming out of the one and only General Petraeus. And this also came out the other day, and let's pull it up here, where Petraeus echoes what this army official Davis said, and what the UK media is saying, and what CBS News is also reporting with regards to NATO moving in and getting involved. The U.S. Army, we have to be more specific. I mean, we say NATO or they say NATO, but what you're really talking about is the U.S. Army getting involved in this conflict. That's what this is really all about. But Petraeus made a statement the other day, and he said that the U.S. military is ready to get involved in Ukraine as well. U.S.-led force might intervene in Ukraine conflict, ex-CIA chief. I forgot that Petraeus was also the ex-CIA guy. That's right. He's got quite a resume, Mr. Petraeus. The U.S. and its allies might directly intervene in the ongoing conflict between Moscow and Kiev, even when there is no threat to any NATO member states, retired U.S. Army General David Petraeus told France, his L'Express Weekly on Saturday. Washington might form a new coalition of the willing in such a scenario and use it instead of NATO, Petraeus, who also briefly served as the CIA director, believes. Russia could take some actions in Ukraine that would be so shocking and so horrific that it would prompt a response from the U.S. and other nations, he said, adding that they might react in one way or another, but as a multinational force led by the U.S. and not as a NATO force. The military.
So, why would they do this? Why would they do this? I mean, from everything I know, and I follow this situation every day, probably to an unhealthy amount, I do not understand for the life of me why why the Russians would be this stupid. I mean, you might not like Putin or like Russia or the Russian government or whatever, but I don't think anyone thinks they're stupid. I would hope not. Now, why would they? Right before this monumental election that will determine how much of a military they have to fight, because it will determine whether an infinite blank check keeps landing in their lap from America. Why, in the week that October surprises happen, would they start committing these sort of G-word atrocities that the U.S. committed in North Korea in the 1950s? It does not make sense. It does not make sense. But I'm glad General Petraeus found a little bit of time outside of the bedroom with his wife or mistress, or a combination of the two, to stick his little head up and more. I gotta remember I'm a school teacher. And give us some advice on what's going on, what should be done, what's going on in the Ukraine. So, yeah, that's a fun one. I'm not buying it. 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 If this happens, here's who I think is to blame. Okay? I haven't heard this phone call in a long time. I heard you cannot find it on YouTube anymore. Let's see if that's true. I'm saving this screen. Yeah, we got the majority of that. So, those of you in the know, everybody in this chat, Jenny, Bismuth, Lumpia, Johnny, all my friends, we all know, we've all heard this phone call. It is on YouTube. She knows. You know what I'm going to look for. Phone call. Let's just listen, because I haven't heard it in months. Here we go. It is here. Yay. I haven't heard it in a long time. Okay. And you guys probably know more about it than I do. You probably know the names involved, but I'll be honest with you guys. My role in this is quit loop back. It is good stuff. It's also on Odyssey. The full video was removed, but I think someone else uploaded it. Okay. Well, let's just look on Odyssey as well. Well, I'm on Rumble. It should be on Rumble, I would imagine, as well. Newland. Let's see if it's longer. Newland phone call. If there's any justice in the world, that should take us there. I don't see it. Victoria phone call. Ukraine coup. Victoria Newland. Now this one's 6 minutes. This other one, the one on YouTube, is 2 minutes and 29 seconds. 8 years ago. So that's probably not the whole thing. But just for fun, let's watch the YouTube clip and then let's go find the full one and just see what the difference is. Okay. So this is the top one on YouTube. Actually, let's listen to the Rumble one first. And then, and then we'll listen to the cut one just to see. I think that would be fun to see. So let's present, share screen, Brave tab, and there we go. Victoria phone call. Let's play this one. So if you guys remind me right, this was, yes, February 4th, 2014.
What do you think?
Okay. I don't know if I should explain for the sake of the stream, you know. It's like I'm teaching a class to like teenagers. It's important that you know who Victoria Nuland is. Victoria Nuland. Let's read that first, and then we'll go back to it. Victoria Nuland. Who is she? Who could she be? Why is she relevant? Here we go. Victoria Nuland. Victoria Nuland. She's a boomer. Born the same year as my mother, I believe. Wow. Man, how two apples can fall very far apart from the same 1961 tree. My mother is like the closest representation to Jesus Christ I can think of. And, well, let's just say Victoria needs prayer. And maybe a prison cell. Victoria Nuland is an American diplomat currently serving as Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs. Nuland, a former member of the Foreign Service, served as the Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs at the United States Department of State from 2013 to 2017 and U.S. Permanent Representative to NATO from 2005 to 2008. Oh, she was in the NATO inside for 3 years. And she was in the State Department for 4 years. She held the rank of career ambassador. Boy, that is, I'm glad I went to this because that's what she is. She is definitely a career ambassador. When I think of ankle biting career climber, I can't really think of anybody better. Career ambassador. Wow. The highest diplomatic rate in the United States Foreign Service. What a meritocracy that is. She is the former CEO of the Center for a New American Security. Well, that sounds terrifying. Serving from January 2018 until early 2019. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares what that is? Something in grand strategy. She does something for grand strategy for Yale. And she's a member of the board of the National Endowment for Democracy, which if you kids don't know, how would I sum up the National Endowment for Democracy? What is that George Soros quote about National Endowment for Democracy? George Soros. Quote, I remember finding it exactly, and I believe 1993 is when he said it. I can't find it off the top of my head, and I've already went down a rabbit trail or two here. He pretty much says that we don't need the CIA anymore because now we just use the National Endowment for Democracy. That's what he says. If it wasn't him, it was someone very close to him. It's planted in my mind that is what that is. So, National Endowment for Democracy served as a non-resident fellow in the Foreign Policy Program at the Brookings Institution and as a senior counselor at the Albright Stonebridge Group, whatever these horrible things are. There's seances in the basement. That's all I know. So, she's currently, it looks like, the Secretary of State for Political Affairs under this guy. Mashed potato brains. Hey, my fellow Americans. I got 2 words for you. What'd he say? American jobs are great, or something like that. Ooh. Well, at least she's gotten quality people to replace her as the spokesperson. And this will be very important later on. This is her husband, Robert Kagan. This is her husband, Robert Kagan. It's very important that you know who Robert Kagan is, but we'll come back to that. Okay? I want you to, in my head, I want to paint the picture for you that we're dealing with the deep state equivalent of Bonnie and Clyde. Okay? And their string of Tommy gun bank robberies is being done in the Ukraine right now. It was done in a different country before. I won't tell you. It rhymes with pie sack. We'll bring that up. I won't step on it. But yeah, it rhymes with pie sack. We'll come back to that to see if we can figure out what's going on. Let's listen to the phone call. Okay? Stop sharing. Pull up the Rumble. Let's listen to the whole call. 1, 2, 3.
I think we're in play. The Klitschko piece is obviously the complicated electron here, especially the announcement of him as deputy prime minister. And you've seen some of my notes on the troubles in the marriage right now. So we're trying to get a read really fast on where he is on this stuff. But I think your argument to him, which you'll need to make, I think that's the next phone call we want to set up, is exactly the one you made to Yachts. And I'm glad you sort of put him on the spot on where he fits in this scenario. And I'm very glad he said what he said in response.
Good. So I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea.
I hate to point out the obvious, but for all the people in this chat, most normies, they can't see what we see. They don't see the world through the immortal science of Marxism, Leninism. They're just baked into America's great, America's good, apple pie, democracy. Who is Victoria Nuland to say who should be in the Ukrainian government? I don't know. It doesn't make sense from my 8th grade civics class. Let's see what she goes on to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you think what in terms of him not going into the government, just let him sort of stay out and do his political homework and stuff. I'm just thinking in terms of sort of the process moving ahead, we want to keep the moderate Democrats together. The problem is going to be Tony Book and his guys. And, you know, I'm sure that's part of what Yanukovych is calculating on all of this.
I think Yachts.
Tony Boak and his guys, is that the right sector? It looked like that guy. My subconscious tells me I've seen that guy before with like a blood and soil flag behind him. But yeah. Hey man. That's the American way. I think Yachts is the guy.
Yachts is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, you know, what he needs is Cleach and Tony Book on the outside. He needs to be talking to them 4 times a week, you know.
So he needs right-wing extremists. Can't say the word, I guess. What's another word for right-wing extremists? They're on the History Channel a lot. They rhyme with Yahtzee. We need them on the outside doing the dirty work. And we need you on the inside smiling pretty. Until we can get a comedian in there, maybe. Or somebody else that's been on the TV.
I just think Cleach going in, he's going to be at that level working for Yatsenyuk. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Okay, good. Well, do you want us to try to set up a call with him as the next step?
My understanding from that call, but you tell me, was that the big three were going into their own meeting, and that Yachts was going to offer in that context a three-way, the 3+1 conversation or 3+2 with you. Is that not how you understood it?
No, I mean, that's what he proposed, but I think just knowing the dynamic that's been with them where Klitschko has been the top dog, he's going to take a while to show up for whatever meeting they've got. He's probably talking to his guys at this point. So I think you reaching out directly to him helps with the personality management among the three, and it gives you also a chance to move fast on all this stuff and put us behind it before they all sit down and he explains why he doesn't like it.
Okay, good. I'm happy. Why don't you reach out to him and see if he wants to talk before or after?
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Okay, I've now written, one more wrinkle for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I told you this or if I only told Washington this.
Every time I hear her say that, one more wrinkle for you, Jeff, it makes my insides hurt. Why do you talk this way, lady? One more wrinkle for you, Jeff, in our coup. If you could just iron that out, our coup with the Yahtzees. If you could just wrinkle it out. Oh, yeah. Hey, just one more wrinkle, Jenny, in boosting that truck down by the docks tomorrow night, the one filled with Marlboro Reds. Just one more little wrinkle. Jimmy's brother seems to know, and he's been talking, Jenny. If you could just smooth that out for me, I'd really appreciate it.
That when I talked to Jeff Feltman this morning, he had a new name for the UN guy, Robert Seri. Did I write you that this morning?
Yeah, I saw that.
He's now gotten both Seri and Ban Ki-moon to agree that Seri could come in Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it. And, fuck the EU.
No, exactly. And I think we've got to do something to make it stick together because...
Well, at least part of her plan is happening the way she envisioned it. That is happening. And I don't know. I can't pick on the EU too much, the French, the British. But I feel what's going to happen eventually. When will people understand that going out in the street, I hate to break this to you, Chris Hedges, but going out in the street with a placard or I'm pretty sure the Campbell soup on the painting thing, that's a deep state CIA job anyway, but super gluing yourself inside of a museum, I don't feel the powerful care about this. What do you do? What is the usefulness of a general strike when the ruling class's plan is to destroy the economy anyway? What's the point of a general strike at that point? Garland says it. There's going to come a time when people got to figure out where these people live. And I don't really know how more close it could get to, like, I don't know, blowing up a dam, dropping a nuke. I'll get on here and talk about it, what should be done. But at the end of the day, what's it really going to take for people to do something? I'm afraid it will take people starving. or freezing. But I mean, you have to make a plan to remove the decision-making sinners, as they say. Because as long as these people can act with impunity, what's going to change? It's not going to change.
Because you can be pretty sure that if it does start to gain altitude, the Russians will be working behind the scenes to try to torpedo it. And again, the fact that this is out there right now, I'm still trying to figure out in my mind why Yanukovych that. But in the meantime, there's a Party of Regions faction meeting going on right now, and I'm sure there's a lively argument going on in that group at this point.
It's the old Bellamy salute.
Anyway, we could land Jelly Side up on this one if we move fast. So let me work on Klitschko, and if you can just keep, I think we want to try to get somebody with an international personality to come out here and help to midwife this thing. And then the other issue is some kind of outreach to Yanukovych, but we probably regroup on that tomorrow as we see how things start to fall into place.
So on that piece, Jeff, when I wrote the note, Sullivan's come back to me, VFR, saying you need Biden, and I said probably tomorrow for an attaboy and to get the deets to stick.
I mean, that makes me want to like shove pencils in my eardrums. I think it's the combination of what they're doing, the base depravity of what they're doing, the evil satanic nature of what they're doing, mixed with lib speak. Just a big nothing burger, Jeff. Yanukovych is hashtag canceled. We'll get an attaboy. We'll get an attaboy, Jeff. We'll get the deets to stick. Oh, God, help me. Deliver me.
So
Okay.
Biden's willing.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay. So that's pretty much it. We could watch the YouTube clip. It's just going to be less of that. I don't know if it'll have the heavy bits. Maybe it'll just have the straight part that we need. It's only 2 minutes. I actually kind of want to see, just for my own understanding, see what they took off there. Newland call. Okay.
When you're a high-ranking official talking about diplomatic efforts in Ukraine, the last thing you want to do is drop your guard.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it. And, the EU.
But that is exactly what reportedly happened between U.S. Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and U.S. Ambassador
Keep the moderate Democrats together. The problem.
Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Jeffrey Pyatt. The exchange has since surfaced online, including the crude swipe at the European Union. The audio clip of a woman and man, said to be Nuland and Pyatt, hears them discussing strategies to work with the three main opposition figures.
I don't think Klitsch should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea.
In terms of him not going into the government, just let him sort of stay out and do his political homework and stuff. I'm just thinking in terms of sort of the process moving ahead, we want to keep the moderate Democrats together. The problem is going to be Tony Book and his guys. And, I'm sure that's part of what Yanukovych is calculating on all of this.
I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, what he needs is Klitsch and Tony Book on the outside. He needs to be talking to them 4 times a week. I just think Klitsch going in, he's going to be at that level working for Yatsenyuk. It's just not going to work.
There is a suggestion for Nuland to contact Klitschko directly to play to his top dog sensibilities, while Nuland refers to getting the United Nations involved in a political solution. And that's where the unfortunate comment arises.
I'm obviously not going to comment on private diplomatic conversations,
I,
other than to say it was pretty impressive tradecraft. The audio was extremely clear. Hello, how are you?
yeah. Yeah, it was very clear. Who could have technology like that? And what would that say about that government if they did have technology like that? Do you think it'd be very easy for the U.S. to beat them in World War III? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't exactly know how to internationally tap the Secretary of State's phone for crystal clear audio recording. But if another government outside of my own could do that to me, tip the hat. Tip the hat.
Good to see you. We're here from America. Would you
Probably
like
not
some
gonna
bread?
lie about how powerless they are. Oh, she's handing out bread on the street.
This was Newland and Payet
Oh,
visiting
yes.
Independence Square in Kiev in December,
Oh, yes.
handing out food to protesters and police.
Go
This
to
latest
Donbass,
episode is embarrassing for
Newland.
the US and allows Russia to argue that the opposition is being manipulated by Washington, something that Barack Obama has always denied. The clip was said to have been posted online by the Russian deputy PM, but that has not yet been confirmed.
Nah. It's okay. That's pretty much what I wanted to hear. You know? But let's go into, so that's Victoria Newland. Let's go into my other little part of this that I wanted to show you. Who Victoria Newland is married to. All right. Present. Share screen. Pick a different tab. And we will pick right here. Let's go back to Victoria Newland. Okay. Here we are. Right here. Let's zoom in on her husband, Robert Kagan. Now, these people presumably sleep together, I would say. It's a pretty picture. Robert Kagan. Year older than my pops. My. The different lives that can be chosen. So Robert Kagan, let's read a little bit about him. He's an American neocon, a neoconservative. What's this mean? This word. They're out for blood. That's what I think. Warhawks out for blood. He's a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. I mean, there's all kinds of things. You can just read about this one if you want to. Kagan has been a foreign policy advisor to U.S. Republican presidential candidates as well as Democratic administrations via the Foreign Affairs Policy Board. He writes a monthly column on world affairs for the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos' Washington Post. We all love the Washington Post. We all curl up with it in the morning, drink our coffee, and see what Jeff Bezos has to say about U.S. foreign policy. All right. During the 2016 U.S. presidential election campaign, Kagan left the Republican Party due to the party's nomination of Donald Trump. Oh, Mr. Kagan, I don't think is going to be on the MAGA communism train. I don't think. And he endorsed the Democratic candidate, Hillary Clinton, for president. Hillary Clinton. No-fly zone in Syria, Hillary Clinton. Now, where'd she get these ideas? Now we can read about this guy, but I don't really care. What is important is that he's married to Victoria Newland, so they go to sleep every night. They lay heads next to each other on the pillow. And what do they talk about these days? Probably about the Ukraine. Okay? Now, it's important to know this little part down here. All all you really need to know when you go to the Robert Kagan page is you search for Project for a New American Century. He was co-founder of this. Okay, this is his baby. Okay, the husband of Victoria Nuland, who's the chief architect behind the Western War in the Ukraine, is married to Robert Kagan, who helped create the Project for a New American Century. Now, once you get to the Project for a New American Century, Bill Kristol was the other founder. Oh boy, you can have fun with that one too. But the stated goal was to promote American global leadership. That sounds like a nice thing to do. American leadership is good for America and the world. So, they were trying to figure out how to cement American global leadership. Okay? They wrote a paper. If you get to this page, all you need to do is Control F, Command F if you're on a Mac like me, and type in Pearl Harbor. It'll take you down here. Rebuilding America's Defenses. All right? This was written before the September 11th attacks, it says. All right. Maybe I can make this like this. Oh, StreamYard, don't make it any bigger whether I move this around or not. And during political debates of the Iraq War, a section of Rebuilding America's Defenses entitled Creating Tomorrow's Dominant Force became the subject of considerable controversy. Why? Let's see why. Further, the process of transformation, even if it brings revolutionary change, is likely to be a long one, absent some catastrophic and catalyzing event, like a new Pearl Harbor. Well, look at that. A new Pearl Harbor. Okay, written before the September 11th attacks, a new Pearl Harbor. Okay. Now, I am going to use this as an opportunity to turn on a different compressor, and you guys can tell me if it sounds better or worse. I just turned the LA2A on, and you can let me know how it sounds. Okay, if you like it better the first way or the second way. All right. Let's keep going. The new Pearl Harbor. Journalist John Pilger, based. If you have never watched his documentary on China, the whole thing's on Vimeo. It's John Pilger, China documentary. Watch it. It's fantastic. Pointed to this passage when he argued that the Bush administration had used the events of September 11th as an opportunity to capitalize on long-desired plans. You never let a good crisis go to waste. You know that. You know that. Yes, he is very based. I will say, in that documentary, I think he talks about what was done to the people on Bikini Atoll in one of our nuclear tests. I think it was Bikini Atoll. And it just blew my mind. And they all came to the U.S. and asked for, hey, can you help treat our like radiation damage? And we were like, psych, sucker. Sorry about that. But it's pretty eye-opening. You should check it out. Some critics went further, asserting that Rebuilding America's Defenses should be viewed as a program for global American hegemony, which, for those of you that aren't Marxists, is a Gramscian term that means we control everything, mainly through our culture. Writing in Der Spiegel, it's kind of like the New York Times of Germany in 2003, this guy, Johann Bolsche, claimed that rebuilding America's defenses had been developed by Project for a New American Century for Rumsfeld, Cheney, Wolfowitz, and Libby, and was devoted to matters of maintaining U.S. preeminence, thwarting rival powers, and shaping the global security system according to U.S. interests. British MP Michael Meacher made similar allegations in 2003, stating that the document was a blueprint for the creation of a global Pax Americana. Which means the United States becoming the world's dominant economic and military superpower, which had been drawn up for key members of the Bush administration. Academic Peter Dale Scott based. This guy's a hero to me. I love that sometimes some of the best writers on the deep state are like English professors. Like Grover Furr telling the truth about our boy Jay Stalin. Peter Dale Scott told us the truth about who really killed JFK, the CIA and the deep state, Alan Dulles and crew. Check out Peter Dale Scott. Just Peter Dale Scott lecture and have a fun weekend. If you've never done that one before, it's a great time. Peter Dale Scott, yes, amen. Yes. Peter Dale Scott, also one of my favorites. I might do a stream on that later. It's Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, CIA. One of my all-time favorite lectures. He talks about, they bugging my house. They bugged my mama's house. I told him, I got on there. I said, I know what y'all doing. Come find me. I can't remember what he said exactly, but it was awesome. Peter Dale Scott subsequently wrote, PNAC's ideology was summarized in a major position paper, Rebuilding America's Defenses, in 2000. This document advocated a global Pax Americana, unrestrained by international law. So, let's keep going. Let's finish this part. Other academics, such as Donald E. Abelson and Philip Hammond, have suggested that many of these criticisms were overblown, while noting that similar statements about PNACs, blah, 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 blah. So this is how they start to hedge it, I guess. It's Wikipedia, after all. Cited as a... I'm just going to let him read it, because I'll make my own critique of it. Let's see if I can zoom out, maybe. Many of these criticisms are overblown, while noting that similar statements about PNAC's origins, goals, and influence continue to make their way into the academic literature on the neoconservative network in the United States. Hammond, for example, notes that while rebuilding America's defenses is often cited as evidence that a blueprint for American domination of the world was implemented under cover of the war on terrorism, it was actually unexceptional. According to Hammond, the report's recommendations were exactly what one would generally expect neoconservatives to say, and it is no great revelation that they said it in publicly available documents prior to September 2001. Similarly, Abelson has written that evaluating the extent of PNAC's influence is not as straightforward as Meacher and others maintain, as we know very little about the inner workings of this think tank, and whether it has lived up to the billing as the architect of Bush's foreign policy. Well, you can think that. I think it's pretty clear. September 11th, we need a new Pearl Harbor. We'll never know for sure. What's Bill Maher say? I can't prove it. I just know it's true. I can't prove the link between these two things. I just know there is one. And I remember, I was there, 2003. What's Iraq have to do with Osama bin Laden? Nothing, but we're going in. And how many civilians were killed? How many civilians? How many civilians were killed in Iraq? I always say 1 million. How many civilians were killed in Iraq? Numbers vary, but it was more than one, I believe. Here we go. I like this one. Population-based studies produce estimates of the number of Iraq war casualties ranging from 151,000 violent deaths. That's a conservative amount. 151,000 violent deaths to 1,033,000 deaths. Now, if I could get on national TV right in the middle of this demonization of Russia and China, when did Russia and China kill 1 million people in a war? I don't know. Let's just look that up. Distance from America to Iraq. I was going to say 5,000 miles. It's 6,942 miles. 7,000 miles away. You kill between 100,000 people and 1 million people. 7,000 miles away from you. And you use as the justification for it the new Pearl Harbor, which even at that time we knew Saddam Hussein did not do. It was Osama bin Laden, they told us. Didn't matter. We just wanted to get somebody. And boy, did we ever. So, could a similar situation be going on right now? What do you think? Could the old Ukraine, could Victoria Nuland and Robert Kagan, architect of a report that stated they needed a new Pearl Harbor right before 9/11, which led us into Iraq, which killed 100,000 to 1 million people? I can't prove it. I just know it's true. There'd be a connection there. I think so. Thank you to Gonzalo Lira for showing me this, because it is the ENFP way to come to an understanding. It really frustrates me when people don't engage their intuition, because intuition is largely, it's a mix of everything, but it really is abductive reasoning. Can't prove it. I just know you got a lot of things lined up right over the target. And it's making me wonder, if I was a betting man. Yeah. I remember what it was like. Speaking of, I remember being a kid in 2006, and we go to Blockbuster every day. And I remember trying to explain to people that I felt like Netflix was going to be big. I remember trying to tell people, I really think one day you'll just like turn on your TV and there'll be like a button, and you'll click it and you'll just type in whatever you want and you'll watch it on the TV. And I remember people looking at me like I was insane. I remember it, but I knew it was going to be a big deal. I knew it. I knew it was going to be a big deal. Same with Grand Theft Auto. I remember buying Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, and they were very big. But I knew the next ones we're going to push it to the point of like mass cultural phenomenon. So if I could go back then, I think I remember I did buy Take-Two Interactive stock. I bought 5 shares. I had asked my mom, I go, hey, can you help me buy this? I don't know how to do it. And it was not going up because EA was threatening to buy out Take-Two Interactive, which developed Grand Theft Auto. And that was my first taste of just because a successful product does not necessarily translate into share price increase. But anyway, I'm just saying, I have this gift and this curse of abductive reasoning to have a pretty good feel for what's coming. I hope I'm wrong on this damn thing, but damn, do they have a lot of stuff to lose in the next couple weeks. And I don't think they want to give up their global hegemony because they know if they just wait, China's going to eclipse them economically, and Russia has a military that they can't beat. So, one other thing that troubles me that I want to share with you is, let me pull it up here. I've talked a lot about Gonzalo Lira on the stream tonight, and he made a video that has really spoke to me as someone that works in a pharmacy and has weird feelings about it sometimes. I have never given... Why don't can you talk about this on YouTube? I don't think you can. Pokey pokes. Can you say that? Can you say that? I remember the day the thing showed up in rural Missouri. I walked down the hallway. I remember being excited because I was short the market and the market was collapsing. And I remember feeling weird about it because I was like making money as the market was collapsing. But I was just following my trading strategy. It said go short, and so I went short. But I remember going down, talking to the chemistry professor and chemistry teacher, and some of my fellow liberal teaching friends thought she was like a conservative nut job or whatever. I went down and talked to her, and I remember telling her, I said, I think it was made in a lab. And she goes, I think it was too. And we kind of shared a knowing glance, and everybody thought we were crazy. You couldn't even tell people that. You can't tell many people stuff about it because, I mean, you can't even talk about it on YouTube. But that intuition turned out to be true. I remember talking to a friend at a restaurant who told me he had some old friends in intelligence that told him it was engineered to attack specifically Chinese DNA. Now, that hasn't been proven, probably never will be proven. I can't prove it, but I just know it's true. It also makes sense why China went crazy to shut down and make sure that thing didn't spread. There's also a great article I saw about a year ago about how frustrated the CIA is that they can't penetrate the Chinese Communist Party. Huh. If that doesn't make you... Well, what are they doing? What mechanism allows such a thing? It's kind of interesting. I'd like to know more about it. Marxism, Leninism. What's that? That seems to be a thing that ding, 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 ding prevents the CIA from destroying your organization. Huh. Hey, you said it, not me. The Boston virus, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Let's get there. Let's go to Gonzalo. We won't watch the whole thing, but we'll watch enough to get the idea. It's not the round table. It's third account. Yeah, he's got another account. Here we go. Dr. John getting red pilled is the name of the video. I remember watching Dr. John. Oh, he's got a new one. NATO is cocking its fist. Dope. I'm going to watch that right after this stream. Yes, he did do a video on it today, Jenny. He did. Yes. Yes, we're up against absolute Satanists. We are. Okay. Let's present, share screen, share. Gonzalo, right here. Now let's find, I'm going to go like right here. I think you can see Dr. John getting red pill.
Now, of course, back in December of 2020, when the that substance, let's call it that, the substance
Good job.
that Tiffany Dover took, well, I said, how on earth are we doing this? This is insane. And at the time, Dr. John, he was all for it. He thought it was a good thing because he trusted the people in leadership positions. He thought that they were on the up and up, that they had the best interests of the people at heart. And so Dr. John, as I said, a doctor who went through all the critical.
Now I work with two pharmacists and it breaks my heart because these evil people have destroyed the public's faith in something that in a good world they really need to have faith in. And now they're going after the kids. And if I forget to bring that up, be sure to remind me. But I'm just going to let Gonzalo play here.
Accreditation process, he got his degree and residency and all that stuff that a doctor does while he's in England. I don't know if they do residency, but the equivalent thereof. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not belittling him, but he was a good boy. He was a good boy. And you and myself, who are more cynical, we might have said, he's a sheeple, what are the blue pillars? But he's a very intelligent man and a very thoughtful man and a very measured man. And he just wanted to help people. He's a genuine doctor. And it's very obvious in his various videos that he is only trying to explain things in the best interests of the people watching him. He has no ulterior motive. And so he went along with the dominant narrative. And like I said, I've been seeing in real time as he gets red-pilled. He is seeing how the excess deaths can't be hidden. Because that's sorry about that. That's the thing. That's the thing that I predicted, as a matter of fact, in December of 2020, when they started rolling out the substance. They wouldn't be able to hide the deaths. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that now. We're seeing how the rollout of the substance went around the world, at least the Western world, because they didn't use the same substance in China or Russia or India, as I understand it. They used other stuff, more traditional type substances, if you know.
I remember telling some fellow liberal teachers, I remember there was a day they cornered me and tried to get me to get the pokey poke. And I said, why would I do that? I've already had this illness. I went to 8th grade biology class. I have natural immunity. And they say, oh, you know more than the experts, huh? You know more than the experts, huh? And I remember saying, I go, if I lived in Cuba, Russia, or China, I would probably get it. I'd probably get the vax. But not in this country. Can you say that? Is that discouraging? Not really. I'm not discouraging people get it. I just say if you get it, you should fly to a country that cares about its people and get it there. I'm not discouraging you. I just wouldn't get it in a World Economic Forum dominated government. You know, the one with the Great Reset, the one with the Georgia Guidestones and the keep the population at 500 million. Stuff like that.
You know what I mean? It's only in the West that they use this novel technology that had never been tried before. And when it had been tried on test animals, the animals all died. And here they were, without any kind of realistic testing, spreading out this substance around the West. And now we're seeing the results. There's a video that Dr. John made a couple of days ago. I watched it yesterday. He was talking about infant mortality. I'll put a link in the description below so you can see for yourself.
Amen.
At more or less minute 7, he's discussing some data, and then he looks at the camera. And it's kind of like a heartbreaking look because he realizes what's going on. And he realizes that he can't say it because he'll be censored on YouTube and any other social media platform, except the most marginal ones. All these social media, where he has millions of viewers, they will censor him if he speaks out. And looking at his face, his very grim face, because the death of infants is a terrible, terrible thing. And to be going over the fact that there are excess deaths and to be reporting this information is heartbreaking. And you could see in his eyes as he looks in the camera around minute 7:26, around there, I think it was. He looks at the camera for several seconds and you can see the disappointment, the anger, the realization that he's been fooled. And so why am I doing this video? Well, apart from keeping up my steady schedule for the reasons that you all know, I want you, with whomever you have around you, who is blue-pilled, who accepts the dominant narrative, who doesn't want to fight it, even though they are seeing evidence of the incompetence of the leadership class, even as they see evidence of censorship and repression of vital information. I want you to look at those people in your life and don't hold them in contempt. It's all fun and games to mock them and all the rest of it, but you have to look at them, especially the people closest to you, and you have to understand how afraid they are. And that's the key issue. Because watching Dr. John over the past few months, I can see periodically when he had started to realize the lies that he had been fed, that he had inadvertently been passing on, and realizing it's lies. Think how difficult that realization is, especially for somebody who has an established career, did everything that they were supposed to, as just, live their life as best they can and doing as they were told, and all of a sudden realizing the lies that they've been told. Think how difficult that is. I say this in this video, and perhaps Dr. John will watch this video. I hope he does, because I very much respect him, and I admire his effort and his stick-with-itness,
So let's watch Dr. John's video. He has it right here. And we'll just watch like 3 minutes of it so you can see the part where he looks at the camera. because it is. I love how they put this right
to
here.
This talk. It's Wednesday evening, the 19th
Oh, you're
of
getting
October.
close to the truth.
Now,
We
we've been
better put a blue label on this. Here's the part most replayed. So he says this was such like dry British wit that I had trouble understanding even that he was disturbed by it. I mean, he got me, and I swim in sarcasm. I teach high school kids.
A report from the Scotsman newspaper, national newspaper in Scotland. Doctor said.
So the main thing you need to know back here is that serious doctors
know about this. We've minimized it, and there's further steps possibly could be taken.
Serious
States
doctors,
or in England, but if it was, you can see the numbers would really be getting quite large. Something we certainly need to get worked out. March 2022 was the second one, at least.
Let me try to find it without watching the whole thing. I really, really, really need a new computer if I want to keep doing this. This one's about, honestly, 10 years old. But I feel like you guys in the chat are just my friends, and I feel guilty to ask anyone for money. You know, I'm hoping I need to, I was going to make a promise to you guys that this week I want to get back into my audiobook grind. And my hope is that on a long enough timeline that I can get enough ad revenue from those audiobooks that I can start to fund this and, you know, buy technology that just works. I have pretty much all the like, what do you call it? The peripherals, the microphone, the interface, the keyboard, the headphones. I'd even dare say 60% of the know-how. But the computer, the CPU, you just got to fix it. So I'm going to put this up here. So it's in the chat. Show you guys where. Yeah, I really like buymeacoffee.com because they support Patrick Lancaster. They let him keep doing what he was doing. There's one you can do. I like that one. And this one's cool too. The memberships are really cool because if you build up enough of those, you can start to really rely on it because you know it'll come in every week. But I'm just putting that there. I don't want yeah, he does. He's fantastic. I love that guy. But I don't want to talk about that very much. I think I'll just say it at the end from now on and go with that. But in the meantime, we're using my old computer. Let's make it work. We're doing the best we can, okay? It's always interesting to watch it back. The video frames usually are kind of clicky, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, man. I'm doing the best I can. So anyway, let's find these infant mortality he's talking about here.
Neonatal deaths, 2 particular spikes over 6 months have been noted. September 2021 was the first one. At least 21 babies under 4 weeks died. Remember, this is from a population of just 5.5 million. Now, let's hope this isn't duplicated in somewhere like the United States or in England. But if it was, you can see the numbers would really be getting quite large. Something we certainly need to get worked out. March 2022, it was the second one. At least 18 babies under 4 weeks died. So they are taking the neonatal period as up to 4 weeks there. Now, the average mortality rates amongst newborns is about 2 per 1,000. Now, tragically, this does happen. I mean, you know, children can be born with various problems that can result in their death in the first few weeks of life. This is tragically the case. We know about this. We've minimized it, and there's further steps possibly could be taken to minimize it even more. But at the moment, it's about 2 per 1,000 births. So tragic for the 2, but low, basically, lowish for 2 per 1,000 births. Now, in September, in March 2020, that should be 2022, sorry. So September 2021, it was 4.9. March 2022, it was 4.6. So we can see the rates here are double.
So that's what you need to know. The average is 2 per 1,000. They are now more than twice that for some weird reason. Okay? If twice as many babies are dying, I mean, infant mortality is the gold standard of how well your economy, your government is treating its citizens. If twice as many babies are dying at birth, that would be something you'd want to know about, right? So let's fast forward a little bit here. He brings up the article explaining why they're not going to look into this. They're not interested. Here you go.
Newspaper in Scotland, Dr. Sarah Stock, University of Edinburgh. Direct quotes from Dr. Stock. I think the numbers are really troubling, and I don't think we know the reason yet.
Let me let it buffer for just a second. My headphones, if you guys hear it, it's not playing very well. Let's try it again. Make sure my fan is on. My fan is on. Yeah, that's the problem. My MacBook Pro, it's fan. I probably need the thermal paste. Jenny, I hate to hear that. I'm gonna say prayers for you, my friend. I think you'll be fine. It'll all work out just the way it's supposed to. Here we go. Let's see if it keeps playing. I get it. I got very close myself. And my mom got it. And I feel like if I had put my foot down a little bit more, I might have been able to change her mind. And yeah, absolutely. It's a blessing. I've been saying that a lot lately. People ask me how I am, and I say I'm doing great. It's another day this side of the grass, so who knows what could have happened. I mean, it did. It was real. It did. It killed people. And you never know. Yeah, that's what's so disgusting to me about it. Well, good. That's what's so disgusting about it, is they've taken advantage of people's goodwill, and that is just satanic to me. It is absolutely satanic.
What we do know is it's not neonatal COVID. So we can be confident it's not neonatal COVID. The rates of COVID infection in babies are very low, and deaths from COVID, thankfully, are very, very small. So that is true and good to reinforce. So this isn't COVID affecting babies. So it's not COVID related. Now, other information coming from Public Health Scotland.
Amen.
COVID Scotland. This is another well-known Scottish newspaper, the Herald, reporting COVID Scotland ruled out in neonatal death spike, according to this report from the Herald. Public health experts ruled out any link between spike in neonatal deaths and the COVID vaccine. But the Herald does note this was without checking whether any of the infant's mothers had received the jab during pregnancy.
You'd think that might be something more checking.
Experts stressed no plausible link to justify investigation of maternal vaccination status.
Makes sense.
So they're saying there's no need to investigate the mum's vaccine status.
Why look into that?
In these babies that have tragically
might
died
get in
in
the way
the
of-
neonatal period. This is
Might
not
get in the
necessary.
way of these.
Public Health
That might
Scotland
get in the way of
said its
those.
consultants had given careful consideration to the potential benefits and harm of carrying out such an analysis as part of its probe into the tragic death of 39 infants, but concluded against doing so. Public Health Scotland added, so the Herald's got this from different bits and bobs, some are freedom of information requests and other statements. They put it together. There's a risk that identifying the vaccination status of the mother, even at aggregate level, so in other words, that's not individuals, it's just going overall percentages and numbers, even that would result in harm to those individuals and others close to them, which of course we wouldn't want. Through actual or perceived judgment of the effects of their personal vaccination decision, the outcome of such analysis, while being uninformative for public health decision making, had the potential to be used to harm vaccine confidence at this critical time.
Well, I wonder why. I wonder why, if I was a mother, or I mean, I have 2 kids, 2 babies, and I'm living in a country where I have to be careful with saying this on YouTube if I want to keep talking on YouTube. If I say, so you're telling me if my wife gets this thing that I can't even talk about on YouTube because my country is being ran by Yahtzees with a smiley face on it that are using the state and hiding behind private companies to censor speech that threatens their corporate profits. But you're telling me if we take this thing, my baby is twice as likely to die in the hospital. You're telling me that might undermine confidence in this thing. I wonder why. You anti-human Satanists. It's what you are. But I think it's about 100 people. I mean, and a whole lot of people that are just going along for the ride. But I really do feel in my heart of hearts, just for the good of the planet, there's about 100 people that need to go to prison. And, we can try to win them to the Lord inside. But until then, we need to get them off the proverbial billionaire streets.
Regarding this would be uninformative for public health decision
Who needs
making.
to know?
So NHS, this is a Freedom of Information response here from Public Health Scotland. We do not have any plans to examine maternal vaccination status, as there is no public health reason to do so.
Here it is.
So it's reassuring to note, isn't it, that Public Health Scotland can be so confident in the safety of the vaccines. Now, this is a report from another English.
So that's what Gonzalo Lira was talking about. It looks like he's in a hostage video. It looks like a hostage video. There it is. There it is. He stares into the camera for like 10 seconds. Let's watch it one more time.
Examine maternal vaccination status, as there is no public health reason
They're not going to look into
do
it.
so.
No public health reason to do so. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000.
So it's reassuring to note, isn't it, that Public Health Scotland can be so.
He just stares into the camera for 10 seconds. Just I didn't even click on myself as I did that. I'm going to do it again. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's almost like something's up. Woke neo-Nazis. I like that. So I'm at the 2-hour mark. I still have to go work and do my taxes. I have grades to put in. I have dinner to eat. I have diapers to change. I have trash to take out. I know people don't like when you rep the working class, but I mean, it's real. There's two other things I want to leave you with. Number one, if you click on Dr. John's channel, right here, put this. Protect self and family. New Boston virus. Here it is. You can go watch this if you want on Dr. John's channel.
Outward expression of the...
You know what? I'll leave that. We'll do that one last because it makes more sense to me to do this first. We'll leave that right there. And we'll look up. Kim Iverson did, I think, the best clip of this. And all you really need to know about this is the title. CDC votes to add COVID vaccines, mRNA vaccines, tied to corporate profits. Which we can see. Let's just do that real quick. Okay, before we come back to this. I'm going over my 2 hours, but for the sake of I'm going to pull this up. We're going to type in Pfizer. We're going to look at Pfizer's profits. The Marxist in me always wants to see how the stock market's relating to the decisions being made. Pfizer, NYSE. I'm guessing that's it. Here we go. Let's turn off the indicators. Their profits were insane. So let's find March 2020. Right there. $26 a share. Let's look on the weekly so you can see it clear. We'll make it bigger. So there's where they bottomed. At the bottom of COVID, you could pick up Pfizer for $26 a share. And 132%. 132%. Okay. There you go. Another working class hero. But yeah. There you go. Let's look up Moderna real quick while we're here. Might have even been a better investment. I hope. I like their ticker was literally mRNA. Wow. Talk about hiding in plain sight. God help us, man. Moderna. All right, here's Moderna in March 2020, $20 a share. Peaked at Monday, August 21st. So August 9th, 2021. You made a return profit of 325% within 518 days. That's pretty good. Let's just do some math. Let's say you invested 10 grand times, what would it be? 2 times 23, 230 grand. That makes sense. Let's put a couple more zeros in there. So you could turn 100 grand into 2.3 million, or you could turn $1 million into 23 million. It's a pretty good return. Feel for the working class, about 10 grand hits home to them. You could turn 10 grand, one COVID check, maybe two, into a life-changing amount of money for a poor person. Aren't you guys sad that you didn't profit off this? They did. Anything happen to them? Nah, probably not. And you could short it on the way down. You would have doubled your money on the way down too. Right here, that Head and Shoulders break. Let's put the Ichimoku on just so it'll tell us where to short. It doesn't tell us to short on the weekly. On the daily, might. I don't want to dig into it right now. It's been short since right there, 316. Went back in the cloud for a little while, but you would about doubled your money on the way down too. Close to it. Close to it. Oh wow, indeed. So we did that. Let's go back here and look at CDC votes to add COVID vaccines to childhood immunization schedule. The mRNA ticker symbol, mRNA, Moderna, 2,300% return in 518 days. Let's give it to the kids. CDC says it's a good idea.
To get the doors
Let's
open.
go back to the beginning.
Well, the CDC is holding their meeting of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, the ACIP, today and tomorrow, where they will be voting on a variety of measures, one of which has really caught our attention. They plan to vote on whether or not to add the COVID-19 vaccine to the childhood immunization schedule. This means it would be recommended by physicians to get kids vaccinated, and it means many childcare facilities and schools could make the vaccine mandatory, which is pretty alarming considering we're still learning about these vaccines and their not only long-term, but short-term side effects. Here to discuss more about this is pediatrician
Imagine the long term,
who has administered tens of thousands of vaccines to her patients over the past 25 years. She's in no way an anti-vaxxer, very much pro-vaccine, but here to talk about the alarming measures that may be voted on in the next day, today or tomorrow. Dr. Farella, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
So according to a video I saw on Redacted, they talked about it live, that they voted to do it. They voted to add it to the schedule. So let's look at that real quick, just to make sure I'm not off on that. I'm going to cite my source here. There it is.
Then have no liability risk. So what? If these loopholes exist, why do we have?
Here's where they got the breaking news.
To add the COVID-19 mRNA shots to the recommended childhood vaccine schedule in the United States.
Okay, so it's no longer a hypothetical.
There you go.
not hear Biden say it was over?
So now, as a parent,
Yeah.
I got to be really careful. I can no longer just be like, yeah, just, I trust you guys. I know you wouldn't mess with my kid. I trust you. That's a thing of the past, dude. Good job, CDC. What bad long-term consequences could come from that? Here's the secret, guys. I don't think they care. I think they know. The days are numbered. That's why this week in the Ukraine, this all fits together. Me and a few friends are like, well, and I've thought this for years. I remember 10 years ago, that's that intuition again. I should probably learn Chinese. I feel like someone was telling me, I think it was God. I think intuition is just God. I had this intuition that, like, if you wanted to really be financially stable, you should learn Chinese. Something's just, I feel like there's going to be a lot of money in knowing Chinese. I didn't learn it, but it's never too late. The other thing I was going to share with you, and then I'm going to go hit present. New Boston virus. So they're still doing gain of function research, and pretty much all you need to know from this one. Start at the beginning. Two more good ones from Dr. John. I do like how Dr. John has went from like just your small town COVID doctor telling you what's going on to like the most unintentional conspiracy channel ever. Sweet old man discovers the truth.
Well, welcome to today's talk, Saturday, the 22nd of October. Now, there's a rumor going around that scientists in Boston in the United States have made a new SARS coronavirus 2. And instead of killing essentially 0% of the mice it infects, it kills 80% of the mice it infects. Could this rumor possibly be true? I'm afraid to tell you, and it distresses me to tell you, that it is completely true. I find this unbelievable, outrageous arrogance.
I don't know if it's cutting out for you guys, but he says, yes, it's true. There's a new strain in a Boston lab, not a Wuhan lab. They're making this one in the good old USA. At least they're making something in America again. They're making a new COVID strain. Just for those of you that weren't scared enough to get the pokey poke the first time, we got a special strain for y'all coming down the pike. Yep. It's funny, my liberal friends have been strangely silent about Joe Biden's performance or any of this in the past 6 months. So what have they done?
But we'll take a look at it and unpick it, and we will be looking at the scientific paper, of course. Now, this is the paper here. It's actually in the form of a preprint at the moment. But given that it's pre-printed, it probably will be peer-reviewed shortly. But of course, this does mean that the research took place. It's unlikely that they're lying about this research taking place. So this is actually happening. Now, this is the most incredible, in my view, gain-of-function research. We've gone from killing none of the mice to killing 80% of the mice. Now, okay, it might not be that bad if it escapes into people. It might only kill 40% of the people that infects, or 4% of the people it infects. We don't know. But playing with this sort of virus, to me, is just unbelievable. So let's have a look at it, and you make your own mind up. Don't let me prejudice you too much. Now, this is enhanced potential pandemic pathogen research. So they're looking at these research. It's a SARS coronavirus 2. So what they've essentially done here is we all know about the SARS coronavirus 2 here. And it's got these spike proteins on it, hasn't it, like that? I think we know this well now. So what they've done actually here is they've taken one of the original Wuhan-type viruses, which is a different type of virus. And essentially they've taken the spike proteins off the original Wuhan-type virus. They've put on some of the new Omicron-type spike proteins. And they find out this combination has made it 80%, basically 80% more deadly to mice So what this means is it's not just the spike protein that make the virus deadly, it's also the genetics and the proteins in the rest of the virus that make it deadly. It's that combination. So
you get the idea. This is just for me. I'm going to try taking this Pultec off just so I can hear what it sounds like on the other side. And I'm going to leave you for the evening with Dr. John Campbell's newest video. That was an interesting title, Vaccine, RNA, and Breast Milk. Well, don't think too much about that, I'm sure. I like intermittent fasting. I want to learn about that. Pfizer blanked out pages. Okay.
There's also an ongoing...
couple other quick ideas before I get out of here. I want to put the 76 up here and turn it on and see what that compressor sounds like, and then turn the Rev A off. So that is with the Rev A on and the LA2A on. That's with the LA2A off and the Pultec on. There's the Pultec on and Pultec 1176 Legacy, and that is with all three. So the 1176 Legacy, the LA2A, and the Pultec, just for future reference. That's the 1176. That's the 1176 by itself. And I'm going to go back to my original stack here. Take the 1176 off. I'm going to turn the Rev A on now. 1176. I will turn off completely. Let's turn the Pultec on and turn the Teletronics on. So that's the stack that I had on before. So let's leave that. So we can listen back and see if any of them sound especially better than any of the others. I doubt they will. I'm probably just amusing myself. But here's Dr. John Campbell showing. I don't know who this guy is. I think he's a politician. He did an equivalent of a Freedom of Information request.
Orla was supposed to be present in the European Parliament in the special committee to investigate what happened during COVID. And unfortunately, he was absent. He sent a representative.
Well, that's all you need to know is this picture. There's the papers they got back from Pfizer. You know? They look remarkably like the cover album of Paola by Desperacidos. Great punk record by Connor Oberst. I'd highly recommend you listen to this. Left is Right is a great song. It begins when we chain ourselves to the ATMs, make a mess. They'll be talking us up to the journalists if there's any left. The 60s prove change or hit or miss. Every bloody pacifist concedes the truth. If one must die to save the 99. Victoria Nuland. Robert Kagan. Bill Gates. Joe Biden. Maybe it's justified. The left is right. It's a great song. I don't know how this works. I don't know how the copyright thing works. But doesn't that kind of look similar? Actually, there's way more words on that than the one I was looking at from Pfizer. Interestingly. I don't know what Russian you're putting on here, Johnny, but I like it. Whatever it is, it's good. Okay. So, let's go out on that song. The left is right. Who cares about copyright, whatever? I'll just tell you guys, if you want to make up for it, you can become a member on my buymeacoffee.com. You can become a member for $1. That's kind of a fun thing to do. Give Tyler $1 a month. But I'm going to play this song, and then we'll call it a day. Payola. Left is right. See if I can hear it. I'm going to let it buffer for a second. I don't know if it's messing up on you guys' stream, but help me buy a new computer. 1, 2, 3.
It begins when we chain ourselves to the ATMs, make a mess. When we pitch our tents on the State House steps, now we're taking it, now we're taking it back, now we're taking it, now we're taking it back for the greater good. Goddamn Robin Hoods.
Join the CPI. We're coming back, baby. Best revolutionary organization in the USA.
Take a baseball bats to the limousines. They'll be talking us. They'll be talking us up. They'll be talking us. They'll be talking us up to the journalists. If there's any left, you know the 60s proved the change is hit or miss. Everybody pacifist concedes the truth. If one must die to save the 99, maybe it's justified. The left is right.
It's prison. I'm praying for you. Russ Dahmer gets a hold of you. You're welcome, my friend.
You're down!
Woo! It's over, everybody. I love you all. Good night. Till next time. Thank you all for coming by. You guys are the best. Jenny's always giving props to small channels, big channels. Johnny, you supported me from the beginning, brother. I love it. Everybody drop by. Drew, one of my supporters. I love you, Drew. Bismuth dropped by. I love Bismuth. I love Lumpia. I love all you guys. Arif, I don't know you, man, but thank you for coming by. And Full Metal 485. I love all you guys. Good night. I'm going to take out the trash. Peace.